Okay, let's cut across to Finance Minister Arun Jaitley. He's speaking. Let's hear out what he has to say.
The last 5 years will go down in history as a turning point. And it was necessary for this purpose that systems are put in place, and that's why in every sector of the economy, discretions were eliminated, interpersonal interfaces were removed or diluted, technology was used in a big manner. So more people then came forward with a desire to pay taxes. And of course, it had to be a combination of both carrot and stick. You had to bring those who thought they could live in violations in perpetuity into a particular kind of discipline. And I think the message has gone home loud and clear that people have to break away, and those dealing with the world of finance particularly have to break away from what was the normal and live with the new normal. And that's why in the banking sector, the whole idea that if you don't pay back, you can get away with it, then it's the banker's headache. And then when you get money from the banks, you manufacture your own equity out of that money, round trip it, and base your investments on that basis. This can't be the new normal. And that's why you had to break away from the system. So as the Secretary DFS mentioned, the government's maintaining an arm's length distance and inducting the professionalism of a BBB.
Okay, Donald Trump is now addressing the media at Vietnam after his cut short summit with Kim Jong-un.
Hopefully that's going to be coming to an end. It's been going on for a long time, decades and decades. There's a lot of dislike, unfortunately. So we've been in the middle trying to help them both out, see if we can get some organization and some peace. And I think probably that's going to be happening. We have Venezuela, as you know, has been very much in the news, and we're sending supplies. Supplies are getting through a little bit more. It's not easy. It's hard to believe somebody would say, let's not do it. What difference would that make, except it's great for his people to let it get through? But we're sending a lot of supplies down to Venezuela. People are starving to death. And you would really think that the man in charge currently would let those supplies get through. We are getting them into some of the cities and some of the areas that need them the most, and it's not an easy job. It's very difficult, actually. On North Korea, we just left Chairman Kim. We had a really, I think, a very productive time. We thought, and I thought, and Secretary Pompeo felt that it wasn't a good thing to be signing anything. I'm going to let Mike speak about it. But we literally just left. We spent pretty much all day with Kim Jong-un, who is, he's quite a guy and quite a character, and I think our relationship is very strong. But at this time, we had some options, and at this time we decided not to do any of the options, and we'll see where that goes. But it was a very interesting 2 days, and I think actually it was a very productive 2 days, but sometimes you have to walk. And this was just one of those times, and I'll let Mike speak to that for a couple of minutes, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had been working, our teams, the team that I brought to bear, as well as the North Koreans, for weeks to try and develop a path forward. So at the summit, we could make a big step along the way towards what the two leaders had agreed to back in Singapore in June of last year. we made real progress. And indeed, we made even more progress when the two leaders met over the last 24, 36 hours. Unfortunately, we didn't get all the way. We didn't get to something that ultimately made sense for the United States of America. I think Chairman Kim was hopeful that we would. We asked him to do more. He was unprepared to do that. But I'm still optimistic. I'm hopeful that the teams will get back together in the days and weeks ahead and continue to work out. It's a very complex problem. We have said since the beginning that this would take time. Our teams have gotten to know each other better. We know what the limits are. We know where some of the challenges are. And I think as we continue to work on this in the days and weeks ahead, we can make progress so that we can ultimately achieve what it is that the world wants, which is to denuclearize North Korea, to reduce risk for the American people and the people all around the world. I wish we could have gotten a little bit further, but I'm very optimistic that the progress that we made, both in the run-up to this summit, as well as the progress that the two leaders made over these past 2 days, put us in position to get a really good outcome. And the President and Chairman Kim both felt good that they had made that progress, but couldn't quite get along the line any further to make a deal that would have been bigger at this point. I hope we'll do so in the weeks ahead. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, Major, please.
Has this process been more difficult than you thought? And was the North Korean demand for lifting of some sanctions the real sticking point here, in that you did not want to do that and they did? And will there
it
be
was
a
about
third,
the sanctions.
Will there be a third summit, Mr. President?
Basically, they wanted the sanctions lifted in their entirety, and we couldn't do that. They were willing to denuke a large portion of the areas that we wanted, but we couldn't give up all of the sanctions for that. So we continue to work, and we'll see, but we had to walk away from that particular suggestion. We had to walk away from that.
Will all the sanctions that are currently in existence remain, sir?
They're in place. I was watching, as a lot of you folks over the weeks have said, we've given up. We haven't given up anything. And frankly, I think we'll end up being very good friends with Chairman Kim and with North Korea, and I think they have tremendous potential. I've been telling everybody they have tremendous potential, unbelievable potential. But we're going to see. But it was about sanctions. I mean, they want.
Okay, that is the Prime Minister Trump saying that it was a productive 2 days with the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. They spent the entire day. Mike Pompeo also reiterating that, yes, they made significant progress. The relationship between the two presidents is quite strong, but unfortunately they could not get all the way to sign a deal which would be positive or which would be agreeable to both sides. I think the sticky or the sore point between the two was an account of North Korea demanding that U.S. lift all the sanctions in entirety, which something the U.S. was not agreeable to do right now. So they've made progress. In their words, they made some real progress, and they're quite optimistic that they will get to a deal and a really good outcome in the coming few days. The two affected markets, South Korea is down about 1.7%, while the Dow futures is currently down close to about 100 odd points.